Folks, if you listen to this show, you know that I am obsessed with me undies. I now have like 5 pairs and they are my favorite underwear I own. So right now, as a listener of So Bad It's Good, you can get cozy and spooky for less with deals up to 50% off at meundies.com/sobad and enter promo code SOBAD. That's meundies.com/sobad, promo code SOBAD for up to 50% off. MeUndies, comfort that's made for fall. Howdy, you folks. Welcome to So Bad It's Good. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Thursday episode. We're doing a Real Housewives of Salt Lake City recap. What an episode. These ladies are on another level. I say this every week, but it does like franchises like OC a great disservice to have Salt Lake on while OC is still on, because you can't help but compare the two and how it really then puts a spotlight on how lacking OC is this season. We also recap Real Housewives of Potomac this week on Tuesday's episode. Even if you don't watch Potomac, I think it's a really fun recap. I was really happy with it. And usually I'm not happy with a lot of things. But then now that I'm saying this out loud, usually the things that I'm happy with, people don't like. So who knows, right? Podcasting is in the eye of the beholder. How was your day today? Tough, right? Well, don't worry. Today's a new day. It's going to be okay. Salt Lake. I love this show so much. It's quirky. There's serious scenes. You know, I put this on a thread earlier, but I was just saying, like, I know that Salt Lake City and Utah, I know they are real places. I see it on a map. I know people that live there. But at the same time, you watch Real Housewives of Salt Lake City or Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and you're like, no, it's not a real place. It really, I was talking with somebody online and, you know, they were like, yeah, it's like fictional towns in soap operas, like Days of Our Lives or Passions, right? Where you're like, okay, this is a fictional town in a soap opera. That's what Real Housewives of Salt Lake City feels like. It's like there's no way this place exists, even though my rational mind knows that it exists. The fact that it actually exists scares the shit out of me. It's like, I don't know, as a kid, I always wanted like Willy Wonka to be real. You know, I wanted there to be a real chocolate factory. And that would be exciting. In my mind, I really want Salt Lake City to exist, and it does. Yet at the same time, I feel about it the same way as a chocolate factory. Am I going too far out on a limb here, you guys? Let me know if I need to rein it back in. I've taken no drugs at all, but this is what I was thinking about all day, because you watch it and it's just, even Mary Cosby, there's like a quick scene of her in a car driving and she almost gets into a quick accident. And I was like, God, I bet Mary Cosby gets into almost a quick accident every day that she's driving in Salt Lake City. And then I was like, whoa, Mary Cosby drives? No way. Like, I can't, even though I saw it with my own eyes, I can't imagine Salt Lake City, you're driving next to Mary Cosby. I can't for the life of me begin to imagine seeing that. I think it would take me out. I don't know if I would be able, I'd have to pull off to the side of the road. I wouldn't be able to handle it. Do you guys understand? It's just that these are such elevated characters, yet I know they're real people. At the same time, I fully believe OC is real. Like, I know that place exists and I've seen it. And there is no magic in it for me. But for Salt Lake City, there's always snow on the ground. There's always snow-capped mountains. You know, it feels like it's like Christmas perpetually 12 months out of the year in Salt Lake City. Like, that's the vibe you get. I don't know. It just really, I kept thinking about that. But at the same time, they'll have really serious scenes like Mary talking about her son, or Bronwyn with just the loveliest mother that has ever graced Bravo screens. Wow. Bronwyn's mother makes Sutton's mother seem like an angel. Like, you remember Sutton's mother? Oh, Sutton, I can't believe you are here doing your business, Sutton. Like, it really, Bronwyn's mother, like, it scared the shit. I was like, is this like The Conjuring? Is this a ghost? I truly, there are so many weird aspects to this show. And then we have Amy for another episode, and it just says Utah socialite every time they put her name on screen. And she's there at this lunch scene with Lisa Barlow. And at this point, the show realizes that they're making a joke out of it, but it's a pretty funny joke still. And it reminds me of, do you remember that one season of Real Housewives of New York where they had Elise on? Like, remember Elise? It was during the pandemic. And I remember thinking nobody really interacted with Elise. And I just thought, wouldn't this be crazy if Elise was a ghost? Like the Roni ladies didn't see her, but the audience saw her on TV. And I was like, oh, maybe like she's a ghost, or maybe it's like the Sixth Sense where Elise has been dead this whole time. I know these are dark thoughts, but that's where my mind goes to when I watch these shows. And I was like, God, maybe Bronwyn's mother is a ghost and she's just haunting Bronwyn. So all of this takes place in Bronwyn's head, or these conversations she thinks that she would have with her mother. But instead, we have to watch them and be absolutely horrified. What a nasty, nasty person. And listen, I know there's all types. I know relationships between mother and daughters are hard, and I'm not trying to discount how the mother felt about her young daughter at the time getting pregnant and the father not stepping up. But I think that's also a fascinating aspect to this. And what we always say about this show is that there is this backdrop of religion that most of these other shows don't have. Like Beverly Hills, you could say the backdrop of wealth, or Hollywood. Miami, there's like this backdrop of, like a Cuban, there's a Cuban immigrant flavor to that in the best way possible. Jersey, it is all Italian family backdrop. There are these backdrops that don't speak for the entirety of the show, but it is like kind of this foundation from which the show launches. And I always felt with Salt Lake, it was religion. And so with Bronwyn and her mother, it's fascinating because you get that, you get that like, that the religion made her parents ashamed of her because, the dad was a upper muckety muck at the church. And so it was embarrassing for him to go to his job every day. And it is so dark and yet so real. And you throw those real elements onto this Willy Wonka-esque backdrop. I always say the David Lynch, John Waters of it all. And to me, it's the perfect show. Like, I know this is not the highest rated show on Bravo. In fact, I think OC gets better ratings than that. And I don't know. I mean, the joke I could make is like, well, everybody doesn't have taste. Like that's the obvious joke. But sometimes when things are a little left of center, it takes a while for people to catch up with it. OC is tried and true. It might not be giving you everything, but it's giving you something. I think Salt Lake is giving us so much more in ways that a lot of people don't realize until years have passed. All of this 7-minute opening, you guys, just realizes I'm in too deep. Like I really got to pull out. I got to end the show. We're probably, this is going to be the last week of So Bad It's Good. I'm in too deep. I'm talking about this like it's sacred text, This is the Bible. Okay, let's get to some other stuff. Just to remind you, we will be doing a So Bad It's Good Spooktacular, I believe October 28th, I think. I'm going to be dressing up in Halloween costumes. Feel free to come in yours as well. You don't have to. You can just watch me be goofy in my Halloween costume. But join at patreon.com/so bad it's good. Also, we appreciate all the 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You might not think that makes a difference, but it sure does. Now, yesterday, I did do a story about Dolly Parton because I was, listen, Dolly Parton had to cancel a bunch of things. And she was sick. She said she was sick, right? But what really freaked me out, and a lot of people out, was that her sister went on Facebook and asked people to pray for her. And I should have known. I should have been like, ooh, that's on Facebook. Be really careful. Like, listen, that is her real sister. That was a real post. But putting it out there on Facebook might not be the best thing. But the good news is Dolly Parton is okay. And she is she looks great, actually. She did a TikTok video where she looks fantastic. And she gave us this message.
Something. Well, today's October the 8th, and obviously I'm here doing some commercials for the Grand Ole Opry, which is why I'm dressed kind of like a country western girl. But before I got started, I wanted to say I know lately everybody thinks that I am sicker than I am. Do I look sick to you? I'm working hard here. Anyway, I wanted to put everybody's mind at ease, those of you that seem to be real concerned, which I appreciate. And I appreciate your prayers because I'm a person of faith. I can always use the prayers for anything and everything. But I want you to know that I'm okay. I've got some problems, as I mentioned. Back when my husband Carl was very sick, that was for a long time. And then when he passed, I didn't take care of myself. So I let a lot of things go that I should have been taken care of. So anyway, when I got around to it, the doctor said, we need to take care of this. We need to take care of that. Nothing major, but I did have to cancel some things so I could be closer to home, closer to Vanderbilt, where I'm kind of having a few treatments here and there. But I wanted you to know that I'm not dying. Did you see that AI picture of Reba and me? Oh, Lordy. I mean, they had Reba at my deathbed, and we both look like we need to be buried. But then I thought, oh, my Lord. But if I was really dying, I don't think Reba would be the one at my deathbed. She might come visit me earlier. But anyway, there are just a lot of rumors flying around. But I figured if you heard it from me, you'd know that I was okay. So anyhow, that's what I wanted to say. And I'm not ready to die yet. I don't think God is through with me, and I ain't done working. So I love you for caring, and keep praying for me.
Keep praying for me. I'm Dolly Parton. I love that. I loved it. She looked great. She looked better than I do, man. Like, she looked amazing in this TikTok video. I also liked that she brought up AI photos because it's just getting worse and worse. I mean, seriously, the AI thing, it's really going to screw us in the next decade in really unimaginable, scary ways. I mean, it starts with an AI photo of Dolly Parton and Reba McEntire, and then it gets to, it just can, I mean, there's got to be some sort of tampering down on that. I am such a huge proponent of freedom of speech, but when it's used with these AI photos to trick people intentionally, that's a real concern. But anyways, I'm just really happy. It turns out, I guess maybe Dolly Parton's just not close with her sister. How dare her sister go on and just panic everybody? But that actually really cheered me up. So I wanted to put that out there because I put a call out on yesterday's show because I was really worried about it. Now, I'm watching this current season of Love is Blind. I'm almost to the 6th episode, and I've got thoughts, but I want to wait for people to catch up. I'm not going to be recapping that show. I know so many other podcasters do. I know Reality Gays do. I mean, go check out their, I'm sure, full recaps. But I do want to talk about it once I get to the end, just because first off, the conceit of the show, obviously we know at this point they get in the pods, they can't see each other. They just go on dates where you can, talk to each other. But it just feels like the dating pool in which Love is Blind is choosing from. I mean, thank God they're off the streets. I can't imagine this is a good representation of Denver, Colorado. This, first off, just thank God these people are not on the streets and that now their faces are plastered on these dating shows. So hopefully nobody will date them from this point on, because it's not exactly the dregs of society, but it does really open your eyes to potentially the conversations that are happening out there, the lack of substance or the people wanting to go too far. I mean, there was one guy that had told this girl that he loved her, and then he brought up God, and she said, "Oh, I'm not really religious." And he's like, "What? I thought you said on one of our first dates that when your mom died," and she was like, "No, I said." And then they started quibbling about God. And he was just like, "Well, I'm sorry, I can't do this then." And he had told her he loved her and stuff. He was like, "Sorry, I hope this doesn't affect you too much. Sorry about that. My bad." And I'm just like, what is going on? I sometimes go like, God, I feel like I know this is an edited version of something, but I really would have liked the full conversation. It is so interesting. I guess that's what keeps people coming back to these shows. But at the same time, it is a very frustrating show to watch. And, I called a couple of seasons ago. I said, I want more time of these people in the pods. And now I've reversed that decision. And I'm like, I want out of the pods. Let's get into the real life and see what it's like bringing these people into each other's lives. I think the overall thought is just with any of these dating shows in the year 2025, you just get less and you trust the process less and less, because I don't think I would ever be able to trust anyone, even myself, if I chose to be on a show like this, or if I chose, or if I was dating somebody that did go on a show like this, it would be very hard, because I'm just like, wait, you went on the show thinking that you truly could find love, which is what you want people that believe in the conceits of these shows. But at the same time, that's kind of horrifying, because you're like, you really left it up to a reality show? I know this is probably an unpopular opinion, and I imagine some of the people listening right now might have been on a reality show or a dating show of some sort, which if you have been, reach out to me. So bad it's good with ryanbailey@gmail.com. I just want to know, years after these people go on, do they regret experiences doing this? Did it affect their dating lives after a show like this? And how long term did it wind up for them? I'm always very curious about folks. If you listen to this show, you know that I am obsessed with Me Undies. I now have like 5 pairs, and they are my favorite underwear I own. So, when that feeling when the air gets crisp, the leaves start to turn and you're finally wearing those oversized sweaters again? Fall is the vibe. But you know what makes it even better? Knowing you've got MeUndies on underneath. Their micromodal fabric is like a warm hug, lightweight, breathable, and perfect for layering season. Now, get this. This is a real treat. MeUndies has just dropped their Halloween collection, and I am obsessed. I've got my eye on the men's long boxer brief with fly, because it's glow in the dark and it has like these spooky ghosts all over them. And I was like, yeah, I will celebrate Halloween with MeUndies on. There's a style for everyone, though. And MeUndies has a cut for every butt with over 20 different styles in 100 different colors and prints. There is unmatched comfort with MeUndies, and it's responsibly sourced. They use sustainably sourced materials and work with partners that care for their workers. They have a problem-free philosophy. Not happy with your first pair of undies? It is on MeUndies. With more than 30 million pairs sold and 90,000 5-star reviews, MeUndies are an essential summer must-have for every drawer. So, right now, as a listener of So Bad It's Good, you can get cozy and spooky for less with deals up to 50% off at MeUndies.com/SoBad and enter promo code SOBAD. That's MeUndies.com/SoBad, promo code SOBAD for up to 50% off. MeUndies, comfort that's made for fall. This show is sponsored by our friends at BetterHelp. Now, when we're looking at therapy, we turn to a lot of places. We turn to our friends. We turn to the group chat. We turn to the local barista. We even sometimes turn to podcasters. Yeah, it's very sad. Even ChatGPT. But we don't need to do this. I mean, they're fun to talk to about everyday topics. But when you're looking for help about relationships, anxiety, depression, or any other clinical issue, they might not have all the right answers, and instead, I really suggest getting guidance from a credentialed therapist online with BetterHelp. Now, BetterHelp therapists work according to a strict code of conduct and are fully licensed in the U.S. Now, BetterHelp does this initial matching work for you so you can focus on your therapy goals. A short questionnaire helps identify your needs and your preferences, and their 10-plus years of experience and industry-leading match fulfillment rate means they typically get it right the first time. But if you are not happy with your match, you can switch to a different therapist at any time from their their tailored recommendations. This is completely online. You can pause your subscription whenever you need to, and you can switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. You don't have to drive anywhere. You can do this in the comfort of your own home. And with over 30,000 therapists, this is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. So find the one with BetterHelp. Our listeners, So Bad It's Good listeners, get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/so bad. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/so bad. Folks, I use Mint Mobile, and you should be using it too. So if you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. Here's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 a month. Guys, it's amazing, it's inexpensive, and it is the best coverage. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited, that's right, unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. And you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring along your phone number, along with all your existing contacts. Ditch overpriced wireless and those jaw-dropping monthly bills, the overages, the hidden fees. Plans, like I said, start at $15 a month. So, are you ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/sobad. That's mintmobile.com/sobad. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Long-term effects of reality shows. You know, it's just like those old Say No to Drugs commercials, like, this is your brain on drugs. Like, this is your brain on reality shows. And it eventually turns your brain into just complete mush for all reality TV. But my God, do we love it. Okay, there's tons of other news stories, but let's get to the main event. Let's get to Salt Lake City. This is Season 6, Episode 4. And it is called Petty Little Liars. Not Pretty Little Liars, Petty Little Liars. The description that Peacock gives us says, Lisa's explosive clarity luncheon comes to a surprising end, leading to a potential breakthrough for Bronwyn and Lisa. Potential breakthrough. Okay, yeah. Not with Angie or Whitney, but maybe with Bronwyn. We'll see. And just a reminder, the voices I do potentially and most likely sound nothing like the ladies that I'm trying to imitate. If you are a housewife, if you are a Salt Lake housewife in particular, do not listen. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. This is for us. This is for me and for you guys. This is our little secret society where we get to talk about these shows, okay? And if you're not in this secret society, get out of here. Get out of here, okay? Last week, we ended with Lisa's Clarity Luncheon, where we pick back up in this episode. And, Lisa, remember, in her full, like, cowboy regalia, everybody's wearing hats. Meredith Marks, which, very quiet this season so far. She's wearing, like, a kind of like a Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? Like, where in the world is Meredith Marks? I'm fishing for caviar with Seth Marks. And Lisa had printed up all those poster boards at a FedEx Kinko's that said dismissed, but she really wasn't going into any of the actual information where you would believe somebody, right? But Lisa's like freaking out, like, dismissed, dismissed, dismissed. And Bronwyn's like, it's dismissed because you paid them back, or dismissed because they were fake. Dismissed because it's none of your fucking business. Tin roof rusted. So that's a good fact right there. Like, oh, let me write that down. None of your fucking business. Got it. And Whitney even had it by the end of that episode. She's like, this doesn't prove anything, Lisa. How are you unwinding your business, Whitney Rose? And Whitney's like, I'm fighting for wild rose beauty, which is so noble. It's like, I wish I loved something that much in life where I wanted to fight for it. Like, by the way, and also, if you are a woman listening, she is fighting for women in business right now. You know, women supporting women, as Ramona Singer once said, she is fighting for Wild Rose Beauty, but she is fighting for you. She is fighting for all of us, right? I am fighting for Wild Rose Beauty. And as a woman in business, you should fucking care. I'm not being accused of owing people money. And Lisa goes, I'm not either. Bye, 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 bye. Dun, 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 dun. Bye, bye. And Whitney like stormed off. And even Mary Cosby was like, Whitney? I'm sorry, Mary. She just triggers me. And that's where we pick back up, right? And we start off the snow-capped mountains as usual, like, oh, oh, oh. The choir music fed into a synthesizer machine, right? I just want to hear like I would do I'd go to the Hollywood Bowl just to see a Real Housewives of Salt Lake City concert with like the Mormon Tabernacle Choir, but like put it through a synthesizer, like, oh, 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 oh. So, we're at the business again, and Bronwyn's like, Lisa, she asked you a question and you're hurling insults at her. And Lisa's like, Bronwyn, nice twist. No, you always hurl insults. Whitney, another shot of her walking away. She says in her talking head, if Lisa wants to clear up these allegations, then she should be listening to our questions and answering them instead of just jumping down our throats. She's acting like an irrational toddler, but I'm not going to stoop to her level. I'm removing myself until she tuckers herself out. She is disengaging, folks. I'm disengaging. Lisa continues, you said the nastiest thing about me. And she's talking to Angie K right now. And we flash back to Jen, the Utah socialite's party, where Brittany is tattling and telling Lisa that she's like, Angie compared you to Jen Shah. And Lisa's like, she did not. She really did, Lisa. She really did. In this scene, Lisa goes, you only, Angie K, own 1.5 of lunatic fringe salons. So Angie K's salons with her husband are called Lunatic Fringe. But Angie hears this and goes, wait, who told you I own 1.5? That's not true. And Lisa goes, the rest are franchises. By the way, I love it. It's like a franchise, like a Subway or something like that. And Angie's like, whoa, let me help you. Let me help you count my cash. I have 3 salons that I own, and the rest are franchises. It's a model I'm proud of. So like, yeah, okay, that sounds pretty damn good to me. And also, what is so bad about a franchise? What is so bad if you have a good idea and franchise it and that works? What's so bad? Lisa's like, be honest about what you own. You're always like, I own 10 salons. You own 1.5. Angie goes, wait, I need to specify. Hello, everyone. My name's Angie K. And she stands up. I own 7 salons. And Lisa goes, 1.5. 3. And then Angie hears Lisa. There's no 1.5. There's no 1.5. You lie, Lisa, and you throw shit out there to insult me. In a talking head where she looks like a big old Christmas gift, a big old blue bow, Angie says, I finally figured Lisa's tactic out. She lies to deflect and make someone else the target. And everyone's tired of it. Oh my God, Lisa Barlow is announcing her candidacy for president. Lisa goes, I didn't lie. I didn't do it to insult you. You took it as an insult. Like Lisa's not good at like verbalizing assaults. Like she'll end up saying things like gout dick sucker and stuff, which, you know, it works, but it's not clear in any sort of way. But she is good at throwing attention elsewhere and blaming somebody else for their own feelings. Like the only feelings that truly matter to Lisa are Lisa's feelings, right? Bronwyn is like, whoa, because Lisa's like, you took it as an insult. Bronwyn's like, whoa. And Angie's like, you have no idea what I own, Lisa. You don't know the facts about my business. You do French fries. I do franchise. And I was like, whoa, what is that? Oh my God, did we just get I was like, that is a t-shirt. You know Angie K is going to start selling those t-shirts. I was like, where did she come up with this? You do French fries, I do franchise? You should stick to it, she says. And then Mary Cosby wakes up. She's like, French fries? French fries? I thought you said franchise. And Heather turns to Mary. No, she said, you do French fries, I do franchise. And then Mary goes, whoo, that was good. Mary goes, whoo, that was good. Mary Cosby, man. Who would have fucking thought? That's what I always say. The further I get into this show, like the more like just if you're a housewife or on reality TV and you're a bad guy or people don't understand you, just don't give up, man. People will eventually come around, or we go through seasons in our life, as I always say, where, you know, Mary seems to truly be enjoying herself. Like, whoo, that was good. French fries and franchise? Loved it. Now, Whitney finally comes back into the room and sits down. Nobody seems to really notice or care, sadly. Lisa goes, just like you, I'm super proud of what I created, Angie K. And she puts a bottle of Vita tequila on the table. Great branding. Great branding. Also, I want to go back to the French fries franchise thing because I was like, what does that even mean? And then I was like, oh, wait, Lisa's always talking about Wendy's French fries, right? But it got even nastier after the show because social media got involved with these ladies. And Wendy's, the actual Wendy's, the fast food place, got involved. And this was great. This was from Queens of Bravo pointed this out. This is where I first noticed it. And Wendy's, in a tweet, said, canceling my hair appointment at Angie's 1.5 salons. Wendy's wrote this on their Twitter. And then Angie Katsanevas retweeted that with a comment, just like I keep your French fries out of my mouth, keep my franchise out of yours. And then she did a fry emoji and she did a scissor emoji, not the kind of scissoring that Julia and and Adriana do from Miami, but just like cutting scissors, and then the nail polish emoji. So Angie smacked Wendy's. Just put the smackdown on Wendy's. And then I tagged McDonald's in this, and I was like, McDonald's, you have 24 hours to support Angie Katsanevas. You know, it is interesting because Lisa Barlow, I've said this last season so much, she seems to be the cast member that was getting the most brand deals. She got the Kerastase, is that how you say it? The hair treatment commercial. And she also got the Wendy's brand sponsorship. And, you know, Lisa Barlow has done commercials for them on Bravo. She's done BravoCon activations with Wendy's. You know, it seems to be a good working relationship. My thought about this, though, is it's kind of like Sheena in the Valley. Remember when, was it Preparation H? Sheena talked about anal, and then like, Preparation H got involved, and all of a sudden Sheena was like a brand ambassador for, I think it was Preparation H, right? They sent me something. I think, yeah, it was Preparation H. I think, and I found out that like Sheena's team had reached out to them once they knew that was going to be in the edit. And I do wonder it the same way that I think Lisa Barlow reaches out to these companies and says, do you want to work together? I've been throwing your name around, which is very, very smart. And I would imagine, I'm going out on a limb here. I would imagine that Lisa makes more money out of her Housewives and Housewives opportunities than she does at any of her businesses. Fresh Wolf, Vita Tequila, her Salt Lake Vita Saloon. I mean, and that's not a slam because it takes a while to make your investment back on any sort of business. But I do believe that Lisa makes the most money of anything that she does from this. And I think she puts a lot of time and care into brand opportunities and things through being a housewife. Which is interesting because she really is, you know, what I've come to learn these last couple of weeks. She's a very, she splits people's opinions down the line. Like, I love her. I always say, like, I don't agree with what she says, but I love how she says it. And I love the concept of her as a housewife. I think she's such a necessary character. And if you want to even say she's a villain, she's very unlike somebody like Tamra that I don't find nearly as enjoyable to watch. Like, but also Tamra's been on TV for so long, there is an exhaustion at a certain point that I don't think I've gotten there with Lisa Barlow. And I think she's so necessary on this show. But I can't back what she's saying. Like, it's very different. Like, I can't back, like, she's spewing, like, things that aren't even factual in any sort of way. So it's hard to back her on that sense, but I back her, like, the concept of her. Does that make sense? So, yeah, she's very divisive amongst the Bravo viewers, which is funny. You know, it's like, just goes to show, like we always say, people watch it very seriously or people watch it with a nod and a wink. And I think I'm somewhere in between. Okay, sorry for the detour. Lisa was saying, I'm super proud of all the things I created because it's not just this. It's not just Vita Tequila. And Angie's like, well, let me ask you this. I invested in your son's line to put on my shelf. Remember, her boys, Lisa's boys, created the Fresh Wolf men's grooming empire. I actually do have a couple Fresh Wolf products. I'm a Fresh Wolf man myself. But Angie says, yeah, to support Jack and you and your family, but you're doing nothing to help market it. I will say this. I heard about Fresh Wolf years ago. It was on the show, but I've not heard of Fresh Wolf since. I'm wondering what happened to that brand. But Angie's like, yeah, you're doing nothing to help to market it, but you're out trying to peddle yourself to get a partnership, which is exactly what I just said, with Kerastas, Angie says, someone that I've been partners with at Lunatic Fringe for 26 years. And Lisa goes, I didn't peddle it. They love my shiny, pretty hair. And she's fiddling with her hair, and they have a shot of Whitney just batting her eyelashes like, oh my God, oh my God. And she goes, why are you promoting another product and leaving Fresh Wolf product on my shelf without following up, without marketing, promote your own son's Fresh Wolf product? It's a C line. It didn't really belong on my shelves. Kerastas belongs on my shelves. And then Lisa goes, it's actually a luxury men's grooming line. Yes, it is. And then Angie goes, it belongs in Walmart. And that's no knock to Walmart. I love Walmart. Lisa goes, you are a very jealous human being. And Angie goes, no, bitch, you are. A shot of Bronwyn going, with prayer hands like, And then Lisa starts with her yelling tactics. She got to pivot. She's like, okay, the softness didn't work. You question every single fucking thing I have. Fucking stop. In a talking head, Lisa goes, this is ridiculous at this point. Like, now you're talking about my kids' brand and whatever, it's A-list or C-list. The fact that you're going this low yet again, like, we're at a point of no return. It's so funny, though. Lisa, you started the point of no return. Angie's just returning the serve. Now, Meredith wakes up and she's like, no one wants to hear their business being called a C-level business. Not my jewelry line, not my caviar line, not my DJing skills, right? Okay. No, I'm not. Well, no, I will say this. Meredith did do a DJ thing in LA last Thursday. I didn't go, sadly, but I saw some videos and I love that Seth and her daughter and Brooks were there to support. And it did look like a lot of fun. Like, it seemed like a fun experience, whether she really knows how to DJ or not. It's really just about the experience when it comes to Bravo celebrities, right? But I love that the family was there and they all look like they were having a good time. But Meredith's like, can we just accept that was not a nice thing to say? And Lisa goes, dig after dig after dig. And then Heather pipes up. Heather's like, I would like a word. Here we go. Heather, I used to be a Mormon gay. Heather goes, I felt like, Lisa, you were absolutely, totally, unfairly attacked when we went camping. You weren't there to defend yourself, and I understand your desire to clear your name. But for you to go low, Lisa, and count her franchises, count her money. And then, Angie, you just flipped it right back. And you're telling her the business line that she's developed with her sons is a C line. Well, thank you, Heather. Thank you for repeating what we just fucking watched. Oh my God. Are you doing color commentary? Like, we've watched the scene. We know exactly what just happened. Can I take a minute to do a podcast here during this scene? It's the Heather Gay podcast where I tell you ladies exactly what was just said and done. Like, what? We didn't need this. Sorry, guys. And Heather goes, and that's like some diss. Angie goes, it's not a diss. Heather goes, it is a diss. You're doing it to be a diss. I love that we're bringing the word diss in vogue again. And then Lisa goes, that's a diss. That is a diss. I know disses and that's a diss. I'm sorry. My personal friend Blake Lively and Ben Affleck know that's a diss. Heather goes, I'm not afraid to say to you, Lisa, you don't need to go low. And Angie, you don't need to go lower. I didn't go low to her. I feel like she asked me to be honest. Heather goes, I want to be clear. Like, I want to be able to talk to you honestly, Lisa. This was horrible. Lisa's trying to take this in, trying to understand. We get a shot of Amy, the Utah socialite. I forgot Amy was there. Like, Amy's just, am I doing good in this scene, you guys? I'm Amy, the Utah socialite. Hi. Heather goes, I'm not friends with you, Lisa, because of your legal filings. No, I'm friends with you because I was so insecure in college and you were a popular person. You didn't give me the time of day and it stuck with me for the next 20 years. That's why I'm friends with you, Lisa. But she goes, no, or because of your tequila, or because of, I'm not friends with you, Angie, because of your sponsorship. But I am friends with you because I have a great time. This has not been a great time, Lisa. This has not been. Heather, like, well, how did Heather, like, Heather is just, the production must love Heather because Heather must just be like, I'll make it right, production. I'll figure this out for you guys. Heather goes, I think you could probably say the same, Angie. Everybody at the table could say the same. There's silence. That you are a fearless, strong person, Lisa. And when you're on someone's side, you feel invincible. This is Heather. One of her issues is that you could picture her saying the same thing. She probably did say the same thing to Jen Shah when Jen Shah was on the cast. And that is Heather's Achilles heel. She's attracted to these people that only really, truly give her the time of day when she is on their side. And then, we've all had friends in life, or I don't want to say friends, but people that we think are friends in our life, that when they give you the time of day, you feel like the sun is shining on you. There are some people that just have this magical ability and it really warps your way of thinking. You have to get fully away from them and then realize, oh God, they're horrible, right? Heather goes, but when you're against somebody, Lisa, you feel completely vulnerable. And I have felt vulnerable. And Lisa goes, there are times when I felt vulnerable too. She does, by the way, she didn't say frustrating, but she did say vulnerable. And you could tell she has a hard time with that word. She goes, I feel vulnerable too. And then Mary goes, but you don't show it, Lisa. Heather goes, you never show it. And then Lisa goes, I grew up so different than everybody. That line right there gave me pause because we met Lisa's sister before, but now I want to do a deep dive on Lisa's family. I want to see everybody. How did you grow up different? Let's dive into that a little bit more. What does that mean? I want to know more stories about a young Lisa Barlow. But Lisa goes, I grew up differently, so it looks differently to you guys. Everybody's taking this in. But I am very vulnerable. Amy, another shot of Amy, the Utah socialite. And now Lisa pivots again and she starts being soft. She goes, Angie Katsanevas, I love you. I love you. And Lisa starts tearing up. And I'm very sensitive when it comes to you. Vulnerability. I'm being extremely vulnerable. Because when you love someone hard, when they do something to you, it hurts way harder. Meredith looking at the ladies. Angie trying to take this in, trying to understand if this is real or not, right? Angie shakes her head. Okay. And Lisa goes, and you know what? I have thought we were in a good place, and then this conversation happens at camp. See, Lisa, this is why you sign your contract and actually participate in group events. And it's really, really fucking hurtful. And then Angie goes, I apologized. I accept your apology. Angie says, thank you. Thank you. And I have all those same feelings about you, Lisa. And even when I want to wring your little neck, I do love you too. And that's why I do get emotional. That's why I fight back as hard as I do. These ladies just love hard, you guys. And then Lisa now, she's going around the room. And you, Heather, I am your biggest champion. And Heather immediately is like, oh my God, she's shining her Lisa Barlow light on me. It's affecting me in the best ways. And I really love you, Heather. I fuck with you hard. You are still so extremely honest with me. Extremely hard on me when you need to be hard on me. I feel like you're only as good as the people you're around. And Heather's fucking she's about to have a fucking emotional meltdown. She's sucking, her cheeks are already huge. Is that filler, you guys? The cheeks are so pronounced, but now it feels like she's sucking in her cheeks. She's she's starting to stop from crying. Oh my God. Lisa's and if you guys aren't thriving, it's not good. I want everyone to thrive. And it's from my heart. I think you guys know I don't say things I don't mean. There's a shot of Brittany Bateman. Brittany's like, huh? Huh? Is she going to mention me? Huh? It's so confusing. So confusing. And then Lisa gets to Bronwyn. She goes, Bronwyn and I have work to do. But even when I'm irritated with Bronwyn and can say, I don't like you, there's things I see in you, I acknowledge in you, and I understand about you, even if you don't think I see it. So not as nice as Heather or Angie, but still like a little room. And then Bronwyn's like, well, I want to say it clearly in front of everybody. I did not take any pride in hearing about this stuff about you. No pride at all. I just wanted you to stop talking about me. Lisa takes this in. Bronwyn goes, I know that I hurt you. I know you hurt me, and when you're ready to say that, I think that's when we move forward. And then Lisa goes, okay, can we raise a glass? I love that Whitney gets skipped over it completely. Whitney, she fucking when is your business getting uploaded, Whitney? And Whitney stormed out of the room, and there's nothing towards Whitney at all. Nothing. Sorry, Whitney, can we raise a glass to friends that love hard? Great. It's a great start to a toast. And hurt hard. This is off the top of the dome, you guys. But I love each and every single one of you. Even when I'm mad at you, I still love you. And then Heather's like, we love you, Lisa. Cheers, cheers. Bezos, Bezos. And they end with that poster board shot of John Barlow and Lisa Barlow at the courtside at the Nuggets game, I think. Or no, sorry, at the Utah Jazz game. That's how they end that scene. But it's a perfect example of conflict resolution, right? It's like these Salt Lake ladies, you don't think they can come back, and then they can come back. It's a really interesting rubber band effect, and they still have you kind of believing it. But at the same time, you're like, this is batshit crazy what I'm watching. We pick back up after the commercial, and we're at Meredith Mark's store in old Utah, and we hear her voice go, so here's what I'm thinking. And we see she's in there with her daughter and with Seth, and we're inside the store. It's like, the front part of this side, I think, should be like this super tiny, chic little jewelry store that people walk into, and then they go through the back into this speakeasy caviar lounge. In theory, we could go up a level, and back 20 feet. And Seth's like, what's up here? And he's pointing to the ceiling, and it's like it's a ceiling that looks like it's like 6 feet above them. And I'm like, no, we're going to put a second level on this place for a caviar lounge? Are you fucking kidding? Maybe that's what they end up doing, but this seems like kind of a tiny boutique. And all of a sudden it's like, yeah, and maybe back here we'll put like a luxury yacht or something where we'll just, it could probably fit 800 to 900 people. How the fuck, what happened to the jewelry? It's going to be a tiny jewelry thing up. What is going on? Why aren't we doing more of a store? Did this business fail? All of a sudden we're going to make this a caviar lounge? Seth Marks is like, yeah, or we could actually make it like a sexy swinger hangout, where, you pay monthly dues and then you come in and you get freaky deaky with people and we do stuff to each other's butts when I'm not in Canton, Ohio on important business. Maybe we could do that. But Meredith goes, it's an attic, Seth. That's what's up there. And then Seth is like, get on my shoulders, my daughter. Get on up here. No, that's very dangerous, Seth. Come on. It's my daughter. I've got her. And so she's like banging her head against the wall. She's like so messed up. I'm like, I'm going to get my caviar from this place. But Mary's like, this is a bad idea, Seth. You can leave. Okay, so that was like a quick scene, a little teaser. But I want more Meredith this season. Now we're at a place we're at Hash Kitchen, and Heather is drinking a glass of water, and she goes, I'm parched. Which I'm like, Heather, are you teasing us? We know you're thirsty. Is that like a wink? But Heather goes, I overdrank yesterday, and Mary Cosby's with her, and Mary's like, what was we drinking? She literally goes, what was we drinking? I love Mary Cosby speak. What was we drinking? Heather goes, I took your tequila, and then I took Angie's tequila drink. And Mary goes, I don't drink tequila. I just taste medicine. I taste because it heals the soul. Tequila heals the soul, Mary. And Heather goes, you didn't taste alcohol in it? And then Mary goes, no, it's a little bit of a hospital taste. And Heather's like drinking water, trying not to spit it out. And then we flash back to the first season when Mary Cosby told Jen Shah, "You smell like hospital. You smell like hospital." And Heather goes, "So it's not only a smell, it's also a taste?" And Mary goes, "All smells have a taste, Heather." And Heather goes, "That's very true." And she's like, "Yeah, it's like when you pass gas. Some would say, oh, my mouth is open. And then you can, never mind," Mary says. Heather looks directly at the camera, full on Jim Halpert, but she cracks up. She's like, "Are you fucking getting this? Mary Cosby's eaten my farts before." Mary's even laughing at herself. I do agree, though, that all smells do have some sort of taste. Look at me. I'm even agreeing with Mary Cosby. Now we go over to Whitney's, and Whitney's like, "I'm excited to do this, Justin." And this whole scene is they're re-putting up Whitney's stripper pole. She's like, "I felt like I've lost myself, but now I need to get back on the pole." So they're putting the stripper pole back up. Whitney goes, "I'm excited to get back into it. It's been a while, babe. I haven't climbed a pole in a long time." That's all it takes, guys. You fail at a business, you're back on the pole like that. Like if this podcast goes bust, I'm back on the pole, you guys. But when he goes, you must be excited, Justin, right?" That almost seemed desperate. "We need to get the excitement back in our marriage." Seth Marks pops back up. "I heard you put back up the pole. My God, I've heard. Oh my God, I'm so excited, Whitney." So they're putting this thing up as, all couples go through this, putting up a stripper pole. And then Whitney is showing Justin her butt in these leather shorts. She goes, "Look at this, Justin, like that. Look at my butt." And Justin's like, "Yeah, she's just like that. Come on, we're trying to work here. Come on." Perfect. "I miss the days when people would be like, Whitney Rose has a pole in her house." And then we flash back to the first season. Remember that first season, the party at Whitney's, and Whitney's like spinning around the pole. She's actually really good at it. And Heather is like, "Yeah, I'm losing my mind watching you do that." And everyone would thought it was the juiciest tea, and moms would gossip about it in carpool. I like it when he goes, "And people would gossip and call me a huge slut." It was like the word around town, and I didn't care. It made me want to do it even bigger and more and louder. And it's like I stuffed that away. I became a CEO, and the failure of those businesses has really taken a toll on me. People don't realize this. When Steve Jobs first created Apple, right? And they came out with the first computer was huge. And then Steve Jobs ended up Apple kind of started tanking and they fired him. And a lot of people don't know Steve Jobs turned to stripping. Yeah, he started pole dancing. And so I think a lot of CEOs and people bigwigs in business, this happens, man. This happens. But she goes, "I finally see it as an abrupt sign from the universe and God of get back on your course." Oh man, this might be my favorite mention of God this week in Housewives episodes. "Whitney Rose, you are destined to get back on that pole. Please, I made you for thy reason. Pole dancing, Whitney Rose. You know those flowers, Justin, that close in and open up? It's like I had to close off, and now I'm coming out the other side my. And Justin goes, "Your flower is opening up?" And she goes, "Yeah, it's opening back up." Oh God, that's dirty, you guys. I got uncomfortable with talking about Whitney's flower opening back up. I'm willing to donate to her next business just to get her back off the pole. Okay, so we hear the choral music, oh, 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 and we see a Range Rover pull directly, trying to park, but pulling directly over a curb. I'm who the fuck is John Barlow parking this thing? And it is actually Bronwyn. And Bronwyn, she is dressed, I don't even know how to describe this outfit. It looks like just 10 people just threw a different color of each person had a different color of paint. And they just threw it on Bronwyn's outfit. But I'm sure it's this is $1 million outfit. So she comes into this place called Premier Vita Tequila Lounge, Lisa Barlow's Tequila Lounge, where Steve Carell most recently visited. And Lisa's going over paperwork, but not over paperwork. She's just when she comes in, I want it to look like I'm going over paperwork. "Hi, how's it going, Bronwyn?" And Bronwyn's like, "This is cute in here. Oh my God, we were almost in the same jeans. I almost wore jeans that looked like 30 people threw paint on it." And Bronwyn's looking around and, "When did you start this?" And she's like, "We launched this place last June. It's our latest money." It's our latest way to lose money. We had great parties in here during Sundance. Do you guys realize Sundance is not taking place there any longer? Sundance has moved locations, so Lisa Barlow can no longer be the queen of Sundance unless she moves her business. It's really sad. Like, Sundance has now moved out of Sundance. And it's so sad because Robert Redford just passed away a couple weeks ago. And, you know, it's still Robert Redford's Sundance, but they've moved locations. They're moving to Boulder, Colorado, from Salt Lake City to Boulder, Colorado. So I thought that was interesting. But Lisa's like, yeah, it's like fun people on stage, which we love. And Bronwyn goes, that's your favorite. I love Bronwyn is not phased at all because Bronwyn's like, I fucking know celebrities too. I pay Christian Siriano to hang out with me all the time. What are you talking about? That's your favorite. And Lisa realizes that didn't do anything on Bronwyn. And so they're both sitting across from each other, not knowing where to start. And then like, oh, what's going on? And Lisa's like, you know, I felt like there was so many voices yesterday. It was hard to hear anything. Oh, that's good. Blame it on like lack of being able to hear. It was hard to hear what people were asking me. So I thought it would be good if we chatted and be kind of like figure things out. And Bronwyn's just like, okay. In a talking head, Lisa says she has to talk to Bronwyn alone because there are things that are private and personal with her feelings and mine, she says. And if I didn't talk to her one-on-one, I don't think we're going to have resolution. And I think we owe it to each other to figure this out. She tells Bronwyn damaging things were said. And, you know, I'm sorry about those. So Bronwyn takes this in, but I think it really stemmed from you being a fucking asshole. No, it really stemmed from you feeling hurt about our friendship and me feeling hurt about our friendship. And I don't want to sit in that space anymore. And Bronwyn's like, what's going on between you and I has been, we can be honest, it's been on purpose. It's been hurtful. I think what happened was I said things that I didn't realize were like a big deal for you guys. I didn't realize Todd having gout dick might have... This show is so stupid. I didn't realize. This is so stupid. She goes, which I take accountability for. And we flash back to the reunion where Bronwyn says to the reunion, you said that you had spoken to his mother and she told you that I faked a miscarriage and that you have been on the show long enough to know what saying that would do. So this is not even gout-dick. This is stuff about her baby daddy who has now passed away and that Lisa had, knew her daughter, Bronwyn's daughter's parents, right? So Lisa in this scene goes, I'm sorry that hurt you guys. I'm sorry that you're weak like that. I'm sorry that happened. My intentions were never that. And Bronwyn's like, I don't think it was your intention. It's just what happened. And I think it was unclear between you and I for a long time. So I want to be really overly clear with you. I will shank you if you say no. That the beginning of what happened I had nothing but like appreciation and gratitude. And Lisa goes, I felt that from you. Yeah, you thanked me in a text. And we flash to Lisa's text where Bronwyn told Lisa, you're the best for doing this today. And then another text that said, thank you. It was hard for me to talk about, but can you imagine it with anyone other than you? I'd have died. So thank you for making it easier. In regards to that scene, that salt therapy place that they were in last season, where Bronwyn was opening up about her child and her child's dad who passed away. But Bronwyn's like, I would only share that with you. And we flash back to that scene from last season where Bronwyn's just saying, like, I'm having a hard time reconciling this wonderful family that you say that you know with the family that has not made time in 18 years to ever get to know my child. Like, really, think about that. They did not know her daughter at all. This was their son who passed away. This was his child. Bronwyn in this scene goes, I never felt any way other than appreciative that you put your time and effort and your friendship with them in like a weird place by going to talk to them for me. It's over. I handled it with the most important person, which is Gwen, my daughter, and we're in a good place about it. I think it's just a race to the bottom where we are right now. And Lisa goes, no, and it's just not who I want to be. I don't feel like I need to defend myself or my life. If there's a mistake I've made that I need to be accountable for that, I need to be remorseful for that. And Lisa goes, I'm accountable for doing the same thing, you know? I feel like I'm defensive. Like, John is like my everything. The biggest trigger for me is when somebody brings his name up, like, unless you're, like, in his business and, like, in his bank account, in his day-to-day, it's hard for me to hear anything, you know, nasty about him. And I think at Utah socialite Amy's house, that kind of set me off to, like, another level. And Bro was like, me saying maybe John is stressed isn't the same as you saying I suck dick for clothes. And Brown was like, that's what I'm saying about a race to the bottom, Lisa. And Lisa goes, okay, a low comment is never okay. And Brown was like, it needs to stop. Well, I don't want to race to the bottom because you know I'd win. Ha ha ha. Brown was, when I make a joke to somebody that I think is a friend and 4 years later you say, you suck dick for clothes, that's not repeating it the same way I said it. And that's a lesson to all of us. If we make jokes about sucking dick for anything, just really always be cognizant of who you're saying that around. And remember, it can be used against you for the next decade. But Brown goes, you know, Lisa, that's just you twisting things to make it look dark and saying, I don't respect my husband and I'm a whore. And then Lisa goes, I don't think you're a whore. I think you're a frigid bitch. I've never said that. And Brown was like, that's what the insinuation is. I would never call you a whore. You're not a whore, and I don't feel that way. And I thank you. Mr. Steve Carell doesn't feel that way either. And Brown was like, here's what I want to do. I don't want to go back and parcel out every single thing, right? You've been really hurt by the things that were directed at you because they were directed at you. And I've been really hurt by the things that were directed at me. So I'm very sorry. There were times where I said things accidentally that hurt you, and I'm going to admit there were times that I said things to be hurtful. And I'm sorry for both. I will not be doing it going forward, and that's all I can offer you. And Lisa's like, thank you very much. I hear everything you said. Sorry. It would be great if Lisa's like 7 lawyers step out from like the dark corner of like, yep, we got it, Lisa. We got that on record. Sorry for the things I've said to hurt you. Bronwyn says, I'd like to be neutral with you. I'd like to make it easy for everybody else to be friends with the two of us. Conflict resolution, folks. Here it is. I just don't want anything more being said about Todd. No more gout dick or anal leakage. And Lisa says, Todd's off limits, and so is John. And she's like, full stop, Lisa, full stop. And then Lisa goes, and kids, ha 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 ha. And Bronwyn's like, I've never said anything about your shit-eating kids. I've never said anything about the boys. I don't know what's going on with Jack. I hope he's on his way home soon, and it's good. Jack comes home in like less than 2 months. That's so fast. I thought, like, weren't missions like 2 years in the Mormon church? Has it already been 2 years? Where does the time go, folks? My God, this is when you're like, oh shit, I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. I'm going to watch. It's like when we like Candy's daughter, like we watched her grow up and now she's on Next Gen NYC. I'm like, I'm just watching my life pass me by through Housewives seasons. Bronwyn so now they're on like this good path where they're talking about something other than gout dick. And Bronwyn is like, well, Gwen is still at home. She graduated. She has not left. And Lisa's like, oh my gosh. So how is that? And Bronwyn then goes, my mom's also living with me right now. Wow, you have a house full. Bronwyn said she was really upset the other day. Gwen and I had like a disagreement and she was like, I'm sick to my stomach. Do you think it triggered her? And Bronwyn's like, yeah, that's what it said to me. I think we should be grandparents before we're parents. I'm so much softer and more open-minded with Gwen. And it was a really important moment for me, Bronwyn says, with my mom for her to acknowledge she'd been really hard on me. Oh yeah, old Muzzy, Bronwyn's mom, is just so soft. You'll see it in a scene coming up. Just so soft. She must be an amazing soft grandmother. Bronwyn says, I've noticed as I get older that there are things about myself that I hold really rigidly. I like to control how people feel about me, and I like to speak for myself. I don't like anybody else to speak for me, and I want to correct words, and I'm really trying to let go of that. In a talking head, she says, I know I'm rigid, and I make it very difficult for people to feel like I accept them, and I'm trying not to be. Mostly because I know it doesn't serve me and because I want to continue on being a housewife and don't get kicked off. No, she says, I don't want to be... She's pausing with this because I don't want to be like my mom was. And she goes, is that awful to say? No, it's real to say. In the scene, Lisa goes, I'm just glad we can have this conversation, and be like, no voices were raised. There was no yelling. And Braun was like, well, that might be more impressive for you than me. Probably more for me. You're right. And Braun was like, I'm more cutting and you're more loud. I like Braun was like, I'm smarter and you're a dumb shit. And then they hug to seal the apology scene. But I like that Lisa is saying like John is off limits. Dude, John, I think John is universally loved. I don't think I've even ever said anything bad about John. Like, he did have problems, like, parking last season in that one scene. But other than that, I don't know. Like, he seems like who's talking shit about John Barlow? Now we're with Mary Cosby in a car, and with Mary Cosby's. Sorry. Just Mary Cosby in a car makes me laugh for some reason. She's with her husband, her cousin. Well, it's kind of like her grandfather husband, her cousin, Big Joe. Big Joe's in the car with Mary, and this is where Mary has to honk, and somebody almost gets into an accident, and they are pulling up to Mary's church. She's wearing all purple, just like Prince. They're at Faith Temple Pentecostal Church. And she's like, we're going to walk into a new place. And we walk in and we see that iconic photo of, I believe it's Mary's grandma? It's Mary's grandma dancing with Jesus in heaven. And I remember seeing this photo for the first time 4+ years ago. And I had Maritza, oh God. See, I was thinking about this today. I don't think I would make this meme today, but I had Maritza put my face over Mary's grandma. No, was it Jesus dancing with me, or did I have me as Jesus? Anyways, I don't think I would have the ball. I mean, it's in really poor taste, but I just thought it was such a funny image. I hope Mary's grandma is dancing with Jesus. I hope my mom is dancing with Jesus. I hope all of these people are I mean, I don't like dancing that much, but but it's just that it's like this ornate gold frame with this artistic rendering of Mary's grandma dancing with Jesus. So they come in, they're looking at this framed photo, and no, I guess this is her mom. I'm so confused. I thought she just said her mom just passed away. I'm so confused, you guys. But Big Joe is like, Mama looking like you. Mama looking like you. And Mary's like, that's inspiring. And so they go in. So there's been renovation on this church. All these chairs were done, but Mary already is seeing things she doesn't like. She's like, those blinds, the top should be the same color. And Big Joe's just like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And the benches got done. Some of them did. But all of a sudden, she sees one, nails are hanging out. Nails and studs are hanging out of these benches. And he's like, that can't be nails and studs. And he's like, boy, you don't miss nothing. It's a nail sticking out of a bench. What do you mean you don't miss nothing? That's a pretty big thing. Mary in a talking head says, I'm excited to reopen my church, but why is there a nail sticking out? You did all this renovation and forgot that? And so it's this kind of, sad scene for them, but it was just one of those weird scenes because Mary's like, been a long time. Been a long time. It's been 2 years. She says, Big Joe is my cousin, and he's also a general contractor. He took 1 year just to give us wood floors upstairs. So he's good. No, she goes, he's family, so he milks it. He definitely milks it. But Mary's going to come back to the church. The church is opening back up, and she says Robert is excited. And I was like, wait, the grandfather husband or the son? And it's the son. And Big Joe's like, you remember his first time walking was right across there up on the stage. And Mary's like, he did. And all the church was like, ah. And Big Joe's like, how's he doing, Mary? And Mary's like, we're probably 100 times closer now. And this Big Joe has such a soft way about him. He's like, really, Mary? All right. Yeah. But Mary says it's more hurtful because now she knows when he's fallen off, especially now that she's fully aware of what's going on. And Big Joe is tearing up. She's like, are you crying? He says, no, I'm just having a moment. And Mary understands this. And Big Joe says, the boy's tough and his mind is smart, but they're saying he's smart. And Mary says he has a good heart. He does. And So she says she's excited to get back to church. Church is always good to help, Mary says. Bring the church and have some prayer, and that'll help anyone. And he just goes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And Mary says, that's what happened to me. Even when I was younger, I remember Mama called me and she was like, Mary, I think it's time for you to come back and be saved and get in church. And I was like, okay. I mean, like, it's like the family business, like there's sometimes family of lawyers, family of plumbers. This is a church family. Mary says, and because of her, I am everything I am. And then he says, and we're here today still because of you holding things together. And Mary's like, really? Thank you, Joe. And she goes, yeah, you battered the storm. Mary says, for some reason, my mom thought she was supposed to take everything over. This is where I started getting confused. And Mary goes, how? And he goes, I don't know. And Mary says, you think marrying the grandfather, that was odd to both of us. Like, marry me? He obeyed what Mama wanted. He wasn't trying to do anything extra. Mary in a talking head says, my grandmother told her, so we were all clear of what my grandmother wanted. But once my grandmother passed, my mom just started trying to take over everything, and things got bad. She says, my mom she wanted her way and she couldn't get her way. And he says she wanted that power. She came in with her crew, regular church was going on. And Mary says they had a dark cloud going on. He says they had a plan. She got up like she was going to direct the choir and said she was pretty much leaving, but the police was called, he says, and they asked him, who do you want out? And Mary says someone was escorted out. And he says somebody that they thought wasn't going nowhere was escorted out. Mary says, and the fact that it's full circle now and she's gone. And he says, yeah, I need more of this story. But Mary's like, I don't know how I feel about this. It's like a roller coaster. It hurts, but it's also a chapter. And there's like piano tinkling in the background. Ding, 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 ding. But she says, I feel like it was a storm or a battle that I had been in for all those years. Because, I mean, she put articles in the paper about me. She put lies out there about us. It was always something. I'm talking about her own mom going against Mary. And Mary's starting to cry now. In a talking head, she says, when my mom walked out of my life, I felt that absence. But my mom didn't want to speak to me, and so I gave her what she wanted. And when she left the earth a few months ago, it almost felt like it was actually official. Okay, so she said her mom left the earth a couple months ago and passed away. So when she said that painting, it has to be the grandma in the painting, right? It can't be the mom unless the mom wasn't dead, but her mom still wanted a painting of her dancing with Jesus. Sorry, I don't know more about this stuff, this part, you guys. But Mary says it became a whole bigger, really hurtful reality. So they're just staring, kind of crying together, and Mary's sniffling, and she goes into her purse to find a tissue, as you do. And she's like, sorry, I have to use this. And she starts rubbing her nose, and she goes, as a Kleenex, even though it's, and it turns out it's, she goes, I think it's a Kleenex. And he goes, oh my God, Mary, it's a Louis. She's a Louis Vuitton. She's blowing her nose and wiping her snot nose with a Louis Vuitton handkerchief or something. Oh, Mary. Okay, I did a quick Google search trying to figure this out about Mary Cosby's church because we got to figure this out. So this is what Google tells us. It says Mary Cosby's Faith Temple Pentecostal Church seemingly closed in 2022 amid backlash from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. But Cosby announced in early 2025 that the renovations were done, services had resumed, and the church was slowly reopening. The church faced accusations of being a cult and financial impropriety. In 2024, Mary Cosby and her husband sued two executives of the church for-profit business, alleging they embezzled millions of dollars, according to the Salt Lake Tribune. So that part is really interesting. Yeah, they sued the for-profit business arm called United Security Financial for embezzling millions of dollars. The lawsuit also accused the executives of using intimidations, threats, verbal abuse, racial degradation, and physical abuse to get money from church members. So it is going to be very interesting if they use this as a storyline I get a little nervous using Mary's church as a storyline because I feel like that's going to put a magnifying glass on this. And if we're dealing with Lisa Barlow's lawsuits, I'm very curious about this. One Daily Mail article, January 22nd, 2025 says, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City star Mary Cosby's $6.3 million church lawsuit heats up as star reveals bombshell details from the past. As part of the filing, she cites a 27-year-long court battle with her estranged family as one of the exhibits that has been secretly brewing leading up to season 2 of Salt Lake City. Back in 1997, after Mary's grandmother passed away from heart failure, the reality star's estranged mom, Rosalind, along with her siblings Ernest, Pamela, Deborah, Demetrius, and Samuel Cosby, were all embroiled in a family war over the matriarch's estate. Rosemary Cosby is Mary Cosby's late grandmother, who was previously married to Mary's now husband, Robert. Okay, it's all coming back to me. The family revealed that they were torn apart over her will and inheriting any of their mother's multi-million-dollar wealth. In one letter filed January 2022, Pamela pleaded with the court to help her settle the dispute between her sisters, and brother. The letter to the judge reads, "We have all been separated for over 20 years soon after our mother passed on January 4th, 1997. Judge, I desperately want to get my whole family back together again. Judge Lawrence, if we can find out the truth, our family can start to heal, to forgive, and to love each other once again." Another letter from Ernest, the brother, informed the judge that Mary is a star of Salt Lake City, and in one of the episodes, she said that Rosemary Cosby left everything to her because she said in the will, my mother, Dr. Rosemary Cosby, wanted her to have what she, Mary Cosby, didn't have growing up. He ended the letter by asking for a copy of the will. We would like to see the will. In one of the last letters filed in October of 2022, Ernest again wrote to the judge in an attempt to get the answers about the will and said he felt his civil rights were violated and how he believes it was from negligence from several people, including Robert and Mary Cosby and Lois Johnson. He went on to say that Lois Johnson was trying to steal the mortgage company, United Security, which is what the Bravo celebrity is arguing in court currently. He ended the letter by stating that he was informed that his sister Pamela received a phone call in 2021 from the court about the case being closed. He wrote, "I ask, where is the justice for me and my family?" The family holds that they have never seen the will and insisted Robert Cosby and Lois Johnson destroyed the will. They took everything from us. We didn't get nothing. Ernest, however, is not blaming Mary, whom he and his siblings have been estranged from since the passing of his mom. He said, "I don't blame her. I blame Robert Cosby, the grandfather, husband, because he's the one that got everything and stole everything from us." He appeared to even side with her in the current fight against the church execs, calling Lois Johnson the biggest crook and claiming she lied and said she owned United Security. When asked if he's still seeking justice 3 years after his last attempt and still hoping to see a copy of the will, he told Daily Mail, "Well, I believe that fight's over with. Everyone moved on with their life." So that's interesting. He's saying the will with the family, they've moved on from that, but now this United Security thing, that they are suing United Security for $6.3 million. This is really fascinating, you guys. We might have to do a separate episode about this because we got to get along with this. But my God, there is a lot there. How is this not a storyline? Okay, moving on to something fun. Angie has given Heather Gay a perm. Yeah, at a Lunatic Fringe. We have a Lunatic Fringe scene, which, by the way, why don't they make Lunatic Fringe like the next Vanderpump Rules? Just a ragtag team of hairdressers. Angie says her cosmetology license lapsed a while ago. And she says she hasn't done a perm in 30 years, so she has to retake tests on mannequin heads. Mary Cosby has a ton of mannequin heads in her closet. She says the last perm she did was on a little old lady in beauty school, and now she's doing on Heather Gay. She started out as a hairdresser, and she says it's really important to her still. That's her legacy. She says, you never know when you're going to have to step behind the chair again. Could you imagine getting a haircut from Angie K? I'd let her go crazy with my hair. Give me a mohawk or something. So Angie's got her in the chair. He goes, you're never going to believe what happened, Heather. I'm sitting in here with Sean the other day, and this really cute little gal walks in. And I was like, uh-oh, is this something to do with Jared Osmond? Uh-oh, watch out for Tawny. But then we flash back to this scene of this lady coming in. And she goes, hi, I'm Lisa's assistant. and she wanted me to pick up the Fresh Wolf products today. And we see Angie and her husband Sean there, which, by the way, they must have known this because they sent a camera crew for this little bit of footage. So they knew this was happening. But Heather's like, zoinks, what? And Heather's like, you mean the product that was on the shelf here? And Angie goes, well, it was on the shelf. It was no longer on the shelf. And she goes, at first I was like, is this a joke? Is she trying to be funny? But she wasn't trying to be funny. Lisa sent her here and she was dead serious. I had to go down to the storage room and we see the camera crew following her down. She goes, I found the product. It was just dusty. It had been sitting there. I pack it up and we see her packing it up. And then she said, Lisa Venmo'd you some money for the product. And I don't want her money, she tells Heather, but she apparently had already Venmo'd me. I'm standing in front of the desk. We see her standing in front of the desk. I have a text from Lisa that says, $600 Venmo sent. I can send my cleaners to help you too. Sorry your salon is so dusty. And Heather's laughing like, what? And Angie's like, my salon is not dusty. Heather's like, what'd you respond with? And she's like, well, so I just said you should probably have sent the $600 to other people that are claiming that you owed them money. I didn't say you owed me any money. And my salon is not dusty. Your products are, though, because they've been sitting here for 2 years. And so she's showing Heather this. And then Angie's like, so then there's that. And then she throws her grenade back. And Lisa's is, well, at least I don't have to borrow money to take vacations and pay it back after using a card I should have never used to begin with. And Heather's like, what could that possibly be about? And Angie goes, I have no fucking idea. I have my own credit card in my own name. So at that point, I just stopped responding. It's like, I'm not going to engage with her craziness. I mean, you engaged in a good deal of the craziness. So yeah, why keep that going? But for like the $600, man, if the product didn't sell, what are you doing the $600 for? I'd take that Fresh Wolf off your hand for like $30 American. But $600, like what? This is so ridiculous. And you guys all told each other you loved each other after the fucking dismissed lunch. Why are we going backwards? What happened? Angie says, I thought we left on a great note. And Heather's like, yeah, it was love and tears and hugging. Angie says, I'm sick of her throwing out grenades because she feels like, well, I'm going to deflect and you talked about my kids. I didn't talk about your kids. Heather goes, well, you talked about her kids' product line. And you talked about Fresh Wolf. Angie goes, it would never have come up had she not said you're just jealous. You're jealous of me. You're jealous of my shiny hair. I'm like, everybody has nice hair in this room. Your hair is no better than anyone else's. It's dyed bowling ball black. Like, it's great. It's dyed bowling ball black. It's dyed bowling ball black. It's great, but it's not shiny. And Heather goes, wait, Angie, right there. Angie keeps going, when you grow that dark, you don't have shine. Then how is she getting the shine? It does look, I will say that for Lisa, it does look very shiny. Heather says, that's what makes it hard to support you, Angie, is because, like, amidst all the good and all the hurt, you come in with some really horrible slams. Yeah, but she's getting horrible slams, Heather. Angie says, Heather, saying that I'm using someone's credit card to go on vacation, and especially after Lisa was accused of using some guy's credit card, that was part of the lawsuit, right? But Angie goes, she's taking everything that is being slammed at her and just slinging it back at me, and then now I have to respond with something low or walk away. And Heather goes, do you? And Angie goes, I'm fucking pissed. Heather goes, but like, you're definitely going to see her again, like, and I don't think you should come in hot. Angie goes, I want to be in a good place with her, but I don't know how I'm going to react when I see her. Rip that shiny black bowling ball hair off the sockets. Heather, we see that her hair is in like curls. I don't know, you guys. Heather says she's in her pretty girl era. Okay. Cute. Okay, so now we're in another really weird scene. We're at this plant store called Orchid Dynasty, and Whitney is meeting up with Brittany Bateman, and they're shopping for plants because Brittany says she needs plants that she can't kill. And she's like, no, like ones that can endure cold. Like my bedroom, I keep it super cold. And so they're looking at these plants that Brittany can't kill, right? And Brittany's like, thanks for meeting me. I just wanted, so Brittany, you know, it's very rare that she gets like a 2-person scene. So I can tell she's a little nervous. But when he's like, I've been wanting to talk to you too. And Brittany's like, yeah. I just feel like we got off on the wrong start. In a talking head, she says, after the RV trip, Whitney's and my relationship has been pretty tense. But when Lisa went after Whitney's business at her luncheon, I realized that I had done the exact same thing. And remember, like Brittany on that RV was like, your business is getting dragged like crazy right now on social media. Social media. Are you kidding me, Brittany? No, I'm not kidding, Whitney. What do you do for work, Brittany? Suck dick? Where did that even come from? Brittany says, I feel badly about it. And she tells Whitney, I went low and I apologize for that. And Whitney, like, very genuinely goes, thank you. I really appreciate that. And I really feel bad for what I said about you and Jared. That's not me. I don't really go to that level. Everybody's like, I know. I have to say I was a little shocked. I'm sorry. I appreciate that, Whitney. And so they go outside, blown away by the flowers and the plants outside. Brittany loves this smell. And so they're like getting along, walking along the flowers. They both notice that they've never seen each other's houses. When he's like, I've got a stripper pole now. Stripper pole. Brittany's like, in my house, there's a lot of stuff that I want to do to it still. Jared's been helping me. And when he goes, are you and Jared even together? I thought you broke off the engagement. And Brittany's immediately like, yeah, no, we're together. Like, we did break it up, but we're together. What does that mean? That means that we're working towards getting engaged again. And when he goes, Brittany, he's really good to me, Whitney. Like, we really are trying to take things slow in the name of our kids. Do you know what Olivia, your daughter, wants from you? Has she expressed that? And Brittany goes, who? And Brittany goes, and Brittany now has like this little tiny baby cactus, and she keeps like petting it, which this must be like a soft cactus or something, or she just must be like, I'm in a scene with Whitney. I need to focus. I'm just going to keep petting this cactus and tearing my fingers open. She just keeps like stroking this tiny baby cactus. She's like, well, I think my daughter that she just wants to see me being consistent. Like, she's very confused by this question with not choosing a man over her. But it's super hard. I mean, kids are stupid. You know how it is. Kids say the darndest things. What? She goes, because Jared and I are in a really good space. And when he goes, is that her hard, like, boundary? Like, she wants you to stop dating for a minute? And Brittany's like, I'm not sure. Maybe you should ask her, because think about the grand scheme of life. And Brittany's like, Brittany goes, yeah. But you can tell she's like, huh? Is it really that hard to stop for a short period of time? Jared would love it. He has like so many people he likes to talk to online. Like, he'd be fine with it, but she goes, to prove to your daughter that she's worth it. And Brittany's taking this in, and she's like really, really taking this in. She's like, wow, that would be a big ask if that's what she would need. Might have to, God, do you need a daughter, Whitney? Like, I don't know. Like, she's really like, ooh, that would be tough. Daughter or dirty dick Jared. Oh, gosh. Oh, can I get back to you on this one? That is tough. Like, daughter, yeah, I think, I had her. I'm the mom. But Jared, very tight Express for Men shirts, loves wine and charcuterie boards, really good online with social media. Daughter, gotta feed her, gotta clothe her most of the time. It's tough. But she goes, that would be a big ask if that's what she would need, And when he goes, no offense, but she should come first, even as an adult. I mean, this is the obvious fucking answer that Whitney has given us. She goes, because, I've had my own ups and downs with my parents, especially my mom. We were estranged for a very long time. I understand that mother-daughter relationship. It's so hard. Brittany just stroking the cactus going, yeah. But even when I wasn't talking to my mom, I never stopped loving her. I never stopped needing her or wanting her, especially as I've gone through these hard times with my businesses failing. I need my mom, so don't give up. And Brittany's like, I really want to be there for Olivia. I want to be that rock for her, like my mom was for me. But Jared's so fucking hot. And she goes, my mom. But that's kind of impossible, Whitney, because she doesn't make space for me. Like, am I just supposed to sit home? That's the thing, man. These kids, it's like the kid's not even making space for her mom. Like, what the fuck? Kid's not making space for her mom. Why? What the fuck is Brittany on? Making space for her mom? This is so batshit. I mean, this is the craziest damn thing in the episode. Is Brittany, if this is what Brittany is actually going through her head of like, this child's needy. She needs things. Gross. What am I supposed to just do? Sit home without dirty dick Osmond? Are you kidding me? For you? My child? Forget about it. What do you do for me? Like, that is can you imagine her daughter watching this? But when he goes, just give it 30 days and see what happens with Olivia. And Brittany, it's such a strange scene because the way Brittany, if you look at her face, and I wrote this earlier, I said, I think, like on those zombie shows like Walking Dead, there's always somebody that gets bitten and they don't want to tell the other group of survivors that they've been bitten because you're going to turn into a zombie and you're trying to act like everything's normal. And so you're just like, no, everything's fine. Like, but you can tell something's wrong, like that's what Brittany looks like in this scene. Like she got bitten by a zombie and doesn't want to tell Whitney that she's about to turn into a zombie. So like, that's the internal struggle going on. That's what I see. But when he's like, think about your ups and downs with Jared, your dating life. It's been messy and you could use a break. And Brittany just like keeps going, yeah. And if Olivia, your daughter, if that's what she needs to see from you and that's all, it should be a no-brainer. See, but that's the thing is that I don't know if Brittany has the brain. Like she might not have a brain. She already might have a no brain. And then Whitney finally goes, wait, put the cactus down. Put the cactus down. Brittany, literally. It's your daughter. And she's like kind of grabbing her by both shoulders. It's your daughter. And Brittany goes, I know. You should feel instinctually like I'll do anything for her. And Brittany just goes, yeah. Like totally not convinced. Like, yeah, anything, even not dating. She goes, yeah. Do you feel that? Sure. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think I do. Because standing here with you questioning it is making me feel like a certain way. It's your daughter. That she's opened up the pathway to move forward and she's giving you an opportunity to take it because you might not again. And Brittany just stares at her. We cut to commercial. Oh my God. That made me feel so dirty. Oh God. Oh my God, Brittany. Brittany, you're a beautiful lady. There are a million Jared Osmond. I mean, not from that family, but a million guys like that will fully cheat on you. So you can get so many guys to cheat on you. Like, what are you? Come on, Brittany, get your head in the game of life. Okay, so we go from that weird scene, but it almost like tickled me, but it was like really dark at the same time. And now we go to a dark, dark scene. We're at Bronwyn's house and her mom, Marge, aka Muzzy, a mom so great, we don't call her mom, we call her Muzzy. Muzzy needs a muzzle. And Gwen, her daughter, and Gwen's boyfriend, they're like, we're going bowling. And Bronwyn's like, you are not going to bowling. And Gwen's like, we are. And the boyfriend's like, yeah, we got our league today. And Muzzy's like, wait, are you in a league? And he's like, they're not in a bowling league. And Gwen's like, yes, we are. They always say this to me. Who knows where they go every Wednesday? They probably go to Mary Cosby's Pentecostal church. So they go out. I'm confused. And Muzzy's kind of like, oh, silly. And Bronwyn's like, they had me going for a couple of weeks. They kept saying, oh, we're in a bowling league. And I was asking them all these questions. Where did you hear about it? And so I guess it's not a bowling league. They just tell her it's a bowling league. And then Bronwyn goes, well, that's got to freak you out, Muzzy. And Muzzy's like, they don't have enough in the East Wing? Like, I love that they're, like, in Muzzy's head, they're going out to, like, fuck under a tree or something like that. They could do their dirty business in the East Wing of your house. And Bronwyn's like, can you imagine if I had said to you, I'd like my boyfriend to live with me at our house? And Muzzy just gives a face and goes, never would have happened. Never would have happened. In a talking head, Bronwyn says Gwen is the same age or very close to the age that she got pregnant with her at. She says having her mom not only here, but judging how she tries to parent Gwen is really bringing up for her how much shame she felt then and how much maybe shame she still feels. Muzzy says, I'm old generation. Bronwyn continues in the talking head. She has this idea of what a perfect Mormon family looks like, and I'm never going to fit into that for her. You have your Todd that goes and collects Starbucks mugs worldwide. So Muzzy, and by the way, Muzzy's eyebrows, whoa, Gosh. Bronwyn goes, you know what, Muzzy? It doesn't bother me. And she goes, yeah, I know it doesn't bother you. That's why it doesn't bother her. Uh-oh. I'm sorry. Fuck you, Muzzy. I'm so sorry. Bronwyn, and if you hear that, I'm so sorry to speak about your mom this way, but fuck you, Muzzy. And Bronwyn has this zoinks face, like, Zuh! She's following your example. And Bronwyn's like, okie dokie, let's be really careful how we say that. Especially, Todd and Bronwyn has done everything to get Bronwyn's father there in a 24-hour care facility, letting Muzzy, this fucking Muzzy, stay at their place. And then Muzzy has the gall to question anything at this fucking point. I'm sorry to curse so much, you guys. This really chapped my hide. But Muzzy's like, you know, whatever you're doing, she's copying. And Bronwyn's like, well, let's not say whatever. Example, like, I'm out in the streets, Muzzy, please. I just set out to be very different with her. I don't want any sneaking and stuff, just openly. Just tell me you're doing it. And Muzzy's like, and I like that, but it's parenting that I've never seen work. Oh, in all my days, me, old Muzzy, I've never seen parenting like that work. I'll tell you that, Bronwyn. I'm going to have to give you a spanking. And Muzzy has this face like, ha-ha, touche. And Bronwyn's like, okay, but did the way you parented me work? And Muzzy's taking this in, like this weird smile on her face, because you did not want me having sex, and newsflash, I had a baby by myself, Muzzy, so it didn't stop me from doing it. And Muzzy's like, not quite. BYU was trying to make sure I wasn't having sex, you were trying to make sure I wasn't having sex, and guess what? It was happening no matter what. I tried soaking and hot dogging. And then Muzzy's like, I never once was thinking about that, because I knew that all along you were taught. You don't smoke, you don't drink, and you do not have premarital sex. And I would have put my head on the chopping block that you would not have done any of those three. Well, then put your fucking head on a chopping block. My God. Live in the real world. And she goes, ever, you wouldn't have done any of those three, ever. And Bronwyn's just like, And Muzzy just has this weird half-cocked smile, like, Muzzy you just got muzzied. You just got muzzied. And Bronwyn just goes, I know, you're a big fan of the tough love with me, I know, and I'm not a big fan of receiving tough love. But you see how better that works, Bronwyn? You see how better that works? It doesn't work better. It fucking doesn't work better. This is a fascinating scene because you see exactly why Bronwyn reacts the way she does with Lisa. In some ways, Lisa is this weird representation of her mom. And you also see her relationship with Todd, where it's almost, I know her dad passed away, unfortunately, this past year. But you see, like, there is like these gaps that Bronwyn needs filled in because of potentially the way she was parented. And Bronwyn trying to find her own style. And that's why I think it is quirky and it has so much flair, because it's almost this rebellion in certain ways from how she was shamed and what she was taught, right? Trying to discover who you are and away from your parents. And sometimes you need to break away fully. And sometimes you break away and you come back to your family and you appreciate them even more. But this fucking attitude, man, it really burns me. But Bronwyn's like, it does not work any better, though, Muzzy. Jill's like, yes, it does. It does, Bronwyn. Well, I had really hard days still. I would not be jazzed if Gwen had a baby, but at the same time that I did, I would handle it very differently. You did not let me have a baby shower. You were not happy for me. You were not excited for me. I was not to be celebrated. It was not something to be excited about. In a talking head, she says, there were so many moments that were so awkward and so hurtful. My mom and I were at a baby gap, she says, because both my sisters were pregnant at the same time that I was. And my mom said, I'm picking something out for my granddaughter. That's also wild, too, that her and her sisters were all pregnant at the same time. She says, and the salesperson at the Gap said, oh, so you're having a little girl. And I said, oh, she means my sister. And she says, oh, I thought you were pregnant too. I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have assumed. And I said, I am. And she said, so is Grandma buying something for your baby also? And my mom said, no. Ooh. Like bringing your pregnant daughter along to shop for gifts for your other pregnant daughter? Oh. Bronwyn in the scene goes, there are some things you don't get to go back and redo. You couldn't have predicted if I was going to have another one or not. So in a way, you did make sure that I never had a happy pregnancy because I never got to do it again. And Muzzy immediately fires back, well, that's not my fault. That's not my fault. You just got muzzied. And Bronwyn's like, Muzzy, you are the one who made it miserable. And then Muzzy, oh, you guys, hold on. You are going to be, if you're at a desk at your job right now, you might need to take a little smoke break because you're fuming right now. Muzzy's like, well, you know how miserable I was trying to hide it? Oh, my God. You know how miserable I was trying to hide it. And Bronwyn just shakes her head, looking down and just kind of smiling, but also teary. And it's just silence between the two. In a talking head, Bronwyn says, so many times over the years, I've thought, maybe I don't understand, maybe she didn't mean this, maybe she would do it differently now, but I didn't misunderstand. My mom still thinks 20 years ago, when I was pregnant, that the person who was most hurt by this was her. Muzzy says, when Daddy's position where he was at the job, at the temple, And Bronwyn's like, yes, it was embarrassing for Daddy because he worked for the church. I realized all those things, but it was also really about me and what I wanted to do. And I was really the last person considered in that. So imagine Bronwyn's parents, horrified by Bronwyn. The father is not willing to step up in any way. That family doesn't want anything to do with Bronwyn. Imagine what that does to your psyche. Muzzy says, I also felt there were periods where, Gwen's just dropped in my daycare, you know? Uh-oh, so now it's the mom is pissed that she had to take care of Gwen. Had to be a grandma, hands-on grandma. Bronwyn says, I do not know what you're talking about that Gwen was just dropped to you. What are you talking about? And Bronwyn says, I was at work paying bills. Well, what would have happened if I didn't take her? You would have been somewhere else. We didn't want her to go into foster care. And Bronwyn just stares at her and says, I would have worked a second job and paid for something. Let's not imply that I was going to let Gwen go to foster care, Mother. That's so dark. And Muzzy goes, no, you never wanted her to be adopted. It was always, I'm keeping her. Like, that's, oh my God. Oh, it was like, I wish you would have let her go. My God, that would have been such a solution. I wouldn't have had to watch her. We could have went on with our lives and not be shamed by the church. Oh, that would have been fantastic. Oh, my God. And Bronwyn says, yeah. I would have said, get the fuck out. Get your shit and get the... Bronwyn says, I have a lot of grace for the fact that you had never been in that situation of raising a child that was doing something so different than what you wanted them to do. And then she goes, especially the last one. Her last child. And then Muzzy goes, you're doing your best. And Bronwyn just goes, okay. Just because I don't say, oh, you're so wonderful, you're so amazing, doesn't mean that I don't think you are. Just busy being careful that you don't think you're so wonderful. She's laughing, and Bronwyn is just like, what the fuck? And Muzzy keeps going, that you are too good. And Bronwyn just goes, wow. Okay. It's a great segment. Okay. Oh, my God. Do not let Lisa Barlow contact Muzzy. Oh, my God. Muzzy and Lisa Barlow. Oh, my God. Could you give me all the dirt, Muzzy, on your whore daughter? We go to our last commercial. Our final scene is with Angie K and Meredith Marks. Meredith, we got to get you in the game a little bit more. Meredith pulls up in a Lexus and parks, and Angie's like, look at you driving. Like, is Meredith, like, not a good driver? She goes, yeah, look at this car. I've got a caviar refrigerator in between the seats. So they go in, they order their matcha, and Angie in a talking head says, listen, me and Meredith are no Laverne and Shirley, but we've been trying with each other. We've been trying to get along, and we flash back to the RV camping trip, and I guess in an unseen footage, Meredith Marks had given Angie K a gift, and it's a silver holder. She goes, it's a holder for your scroll, the scroll. Remember the Bezos party, the first episode of last season, when Angie brought out the scroll? And Meredith's like, we can now move forward. The holder for the scroll. Because I just want to make Meredith aware that Lisa's not the Laverne to her Shirley she thinks she is. Angie is messy, baby. So Meredith's like, oh my gosh, how's everything been going? She's like, crazy busy. How about you? Well, I'm going to renovate my store and make a small jewelry store in the front and then like a caviar lounge in the back. We're going all in on caviar, baby. And he's like, oh, the lounge is taking over. Okay, well, that's going to do so well, Meredith. Good for you. Anyway, though, Angie K., what did you think about everything the other day? Their drinks get delivered. Like, get out of there, drink lady. We're doing a scene here. So Angie goes, well, I mean, there's a lot that's happened since I've seen you, Meredith. And I don't know if Lisa talks to you, so you may or may not know. I'm sitting on, she's once again the Fresh Wolf story. I'm at the salon, and out of the blue, this girl comes in, and she said, hi, I'm Lisa's assistant. I'm here to pick up the Fresh Wolf products. And Meredith is staring, like Meredith seems like kind of sleepy again. And then Lisa sends me this mean message and starts this war with me again. And it's like, what happened? If you really wanted to be on the right foot, you don't go backwards. And Meredith goes, perhaps she needs a little bit of grace because everything that ties back to kids, we all get very reactive, you know? And she goes, I don't want to hurt you, but in the past, when you and I were not really in a great place, Lisa was calling me and encouraging me to start a caviar business. No, she goes, to dig up information about family members and relatives of yours. Meredith just shaking her head like, yes, of course, yes. She was telling me, like, Google this person, and here's their name, and this is how you spell it, and there's things out there about bankruptcy and shoplifting. And Meredith is just like stoned. She kind of has like smirk on her face, but just no tell. She'd be good at like poker. And Angie's like, to intimidate you so you stop coming at me, to intimidate you to stop coming at me. And I didn't, and I wouldn't, because that's not who I am, but obviously it's who Lisa is. Lisa's doing her research on everyone, true or not, and she's just keeping it back there, back in the back pocket. In case you come for her, she's going to have this bomb. And Meredith goes, I just don't understand why she would, like, telling someone who I'm not getting along with when I am getting along with her to try to go, like, dig up dirt that isn't even true. About not even me, but that it would be hurtful to me. In a talking head, Meredith goes, Lisa is loyal, and Angie's lied about me for 2 years. That's why I find it hard to believe that it's even true. But I'll find out. Detective Meredith. She tells Angie, that's very disturbing, like very disturbing for me, because I wouldn't do that to her, you know? I just wouldn't. And Angie's like, okay. And Meredith goes, well, you know I'm going to have to talk to her about this. And Angie goes, yeah, I'm okay with that, because she said it. Word for word. So Angie's like, that's what I wanted you to do. I wanted you to tell Lisa, because I got the receipts, baby. And that's where we end. Next time on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And we have Whitney going, Little Girls' Day, celebrating love, laughter. And her husband's like, and wine. And then we see peacocks, and Meredith's in this very fancy denim outfit with roses. And Meredith going, I need to know if you spread rumors about my family. And then Angie K standing up over Lisa going, shut your fucking mouth. And Lisa's like, no. And then Angie's like, I'm going to come over there and pull your ears further back than they've been pulled by your fucking facelift. And Heather, like, you know, puts a napkin over her face. And then we see Mary Cosby telling Angie K, I'm done with you. And Angie's like, fine, Mary. And that's where we end it. Oh, my God, you guys. What a weird, great episode. I hope you had a good time today. Whatever you're doing, whenever you're listening to this, I hope I hope you're doing okay. Come back on Friday for an Orange County recap. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon, guys. Bye.